Hello everybody, my name is Richard Vigorelli and this is Vigorelli Institute. Now I've got something that I want to talk about, and yes I know, might be a bit passé, but here we are. So I am an avid player of Civilization 6. In fact, I go all the way back to Civ 4. I played Civ 5. Civ 4 had, the fuzzy cross. Civ 5, they started to introduce a few more mechanics. Anyway, what happened was Civ 6 came out. All the stuff they had introduced in the DLC and expansions and all of that, it was part of the base game. And everybody was like, yay! We can have amazing civilizations. We can take something that is highly aggressive and turn it very passive. We can take a culture that is normally very, very militarized and make them very, very culturally based. Except for one thing. You can't. So, in Civ 6, you can win a few ways, okay, depending on what expansions you have, okay? You can win with culture, meaning you've got the coolest culture in the world, okay? That one's surprisingly difficult to do. You can win militarily by taking over everybody's capital, okay? Some countries you may have to wipe out entirely. Excuse me. Okay? You can win through religion by basically converting most of the world to you. You can win, let's see here, scientifically, by being the first civilization to get to Mars. Okay? And you can also win after you get the global warming edition. By the way, annoys me, but anyhow, we'll get to that in a minute. You can win diplomatically, okay, by basically convincing everybody you are super awesome and stuff. Yeah. 50 bonus points if you catch that reference. I'm totally serial. Anyway, so let's talk about this, okay? Now, military-wise, one of the things that drives me nuts about Civilization is the way military progression works, okay? Now, I understand that essentially, once we get into the modern era, and there's bullets and whatnot, that all militaries are basically the same. That is not true. Okay? There are several differences in tactics, companies, troop deployments, weapons used, and so forth. Well, the way they kind of go over that is you are given certain things that if they win a battle, they get upgrades that you can make them stronger and so forth. And other times, depending on your civilization, your key unit might come in at a given time, in which case this is when you want to push out militarily and just start crushing. Especially if you've got a civilization that, let's say it is Bronze Age, and you show up and your super unit is in the Bronze Age, and their super unit isn't till the Modern Age. Okay? So they're comparatively weak, so you just stonewall them, and they're done. Okay? Fair enough. Well, the thing is, those bonuses, I don't understand why they don't carry. Okay? Why certain things don't happen. Okay? And this is just military-wise. Okay? Now, I'm taking a given group. Okay? They do certain things based on what is around them. Okay? So let's say I'm playing as Germany and we spawn in the middle of a desert, which is, not Germany. So everything that makes Germany Germany probably wouldn't exist. They might even come to resemble more of Arabia, okay? Whereas you take the Arabians and you put them up in the north, they're going to act a lot more like the Scandinavians, okay? So the bonuses that the Scandinavians have probably not going to work. Yet we have an innate spawn point built in. So great. Okay, now I've played Civ 6 a lot. Okay, I've beaten it several times with every single civilization, and there's certain points you need to hit no matter who you are, and you're guaranteed a win. Okay, and at certain difficulty levels, those become more or less more difficult to do. Okay, so the problem comes in a lot of the times with replayability. Okay, and yes, having all of those civilizations does increase replayability, except for when you get into some of them, like say Babylon is just broken when it comes to science. Same thing with Korea, okay? If you can get enough science going, you're unbeatable. You can't be stopped, okay? So there are certain things that go into the nature of a civilization, and they're not necessarily inborn, okay? Back in the day, Korea was a backwater, okay? They barely made it out of the peninsula. China even controlled them for a time. So did Japan, okay? They managed to win their freedom, and so forth, okay? Another one of the things that drives me nuts with civilization is everybody starts off at the exact same time, okay? Whereas that's not the case, okay? There are certain civilizations in our own history that are spawns off of other civilizations. For example, the United States is a spawn, and so is Australia, off of the English, okay? Which then turned into Great Britain, okay? France is what is known as a rump state from the Romans, okay? Before that, they were the Celts, all right? Specifically, they were the Gaulish Celts, okay? Spain is basically the same thing. They were actually Celtic. They didn't become Latin until after the fall of the empire, and also for some reason we just started calling them Latin, and I don't know why. Please explain it to me, okay? Other civilizations won their freedom, okay? Which in Civilization 6, it's not hard to keep that from happening. It's actually extremely difficult to throw off the yoke. Not only that, in Civilization, they pick a leader, a famous one that even idiots know, usually, and that becomes the baseline pattern for the country, okay? Now, the United States under Joe Biden versus the United States under Donald Trump. These are two very different countries, okay? United States under Abraham Lincoln versus the United States under Thomas Jefferson. Totally different countries, okay? They may look the same. They may have the same borders, but they don't act the same way. The policies are totally different. The way they behave is different. The way you would talk to them would be different, okay? So we'll get to other stuff later. So when it comes to the leaders, one of the things that I would do in order to kind of shift stuff around as to how they behave is, you can keep the same face, just kind of re-roll a little bit on their nature, okay? Now, when you play as a given civilization, it becomes something of a fun point of I can shift around, okay? Like I can go in as Genghis Khan and be totally passive, never raise an army, except for in defense, never conquer anything, and just kind of expand based on science. I get my stuff strong enough to where I'm too smart for them to come hurt me, okay? Or I just isolate myself enough. I can do that, okay? But I get bonuses for military stuff, okay? By the way, playing as the Mongol there, okay? So, the religion system in Civ6 got a lot of faults to it, okay? See, the way it works is you build a holy site, and then you build a shrine. If you, and then, you can research temple, okay? If you find a wonder, then you automatically, or something, okay, you can get a prophet and found a religion, okay? I think that's how it works, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I played. And, yes, I know, it came out in 17. Hush. Okay? Well, that's not how religions work. Okay? Yes, there's usually a founder, but that's only for a few. Okay? Now, when you found your religion, you were given a list of stuff that's got certain bonuses. Okay, fair enough. I actually like that. But if you pick it, someone else can't. Okay? So there's certain aspects of a given religion that are given to it. So I can found Judaism, and they are very interested in the Holy River, and they have tithing, and also monks. Okay? Now, let's say that you don't want to have a world religion as the name of your religion. You want to do something else. Well, they have a little, they're the astrological signs, and you just kind of name them whatever. Well, what if I don't like those? Okay? Not only that, there are so many religions, even active today, okay, that are not listed there, okay? There's no Kemetism, okay? There's no Hellenism. There's, not to mention all the variant versions of Christianity, okay, and all of their idiosyncratic practices, okay? There's no Jainism, okay? They've got Sikhism. Nobody knows what that is, unless you're very well versed in it. Hinduism is only technically a religion. It's the only reason a lot of people list it as a religion is because it has, the Vedas and the Gita, and that's about it. Ask anybody from India who is Hindu, and it's more like 3 separate religions on the minimum. There are arguably several thousand of them because it's polytheistic and it's highly individualized. That's a lot more like paganism. Paganism, by the way, is a grab bag of dozens of religions, ranging from Wicca to Kemetism, okay? And they all have completely different philosophies. They all have completely different ways of looking at the world and so forth, okay? So when it comes to religion, me being a religious scholar, I built a freaking religion on this channel, is that it's outrageously watered down, and quite honestly, it feels like somebody who has never been to a church or a temple in their life opened up a Wikipedia article and selected a few things, just said, that's religion. No, it isn't. It's a lot more complicated than that. Not only that, basically giving me a bunch of cards and saying pick 2, pick 3, or whatever before somebody else does is ridiculous. For example, do you know how many religions have monastic orders? Okay, off the top of my head. Western Christianity, Catholicism, Eastern Christianity, specifically Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox does too, have several different orders. Buddhism, you have monks from Theravada, Mahayana, and starts with a U, I can't remember it right now. Okay. You also have monastic orders in Taoism and Confucianism, believe it or not. Okay. You also have monastic orders in Shinto. Okay. You have tithe practiced in all 3 Abrahamic religions. You have offerings made in Islam, which is technically a tithe, but not really because it's not set. You basically give what you can. You have offerings in Hinduism and Taoism, etc. Okay. You have holy books in Christianity, Judaism, Islam. Well, basically all of them have some kind of holy book. Okay. That, holds stories and philosophies and all of this and why you shouldn't do whatever it is and yada, yada, yada. Okay? And the way Civ6 goes about it kind of drives me crazy. I don't particularly like it. Okay? Now, of course, they'll say, well, if everybody had it, then the bonus would be meaningless. Fair enough. Okay? Now, in the first build of Civ6, you could cross-pollinate, okay? That, let's say, your religion and the other religion grew up next to each other, you could share abilities, and they decided that didn't work with game balance. So they got rid of it, okay? Which I thought was dumb, all right? Now, in reality, that's how religion works, okay? Every single religion on the planet, whether it's a deific or a philosophic religion, answers 3 questions, okay? Otherwise, it's really not a religion, okay? Where do we come from? Why are we here? And where are we going, okay? The why we're here is what a lot of people get bogged down on, okay? It's basically how to interact with people. And most religions will tell you, basically, don't be a jerk. Okay? That's it. It doesn't have that. Okay? Now, granted, a lot of people will say, well, people that are very religious still fight wars. Yes, because they're human. But I'm not going to turn this into a religion video. So, when we get into culture, and when we get into science, culture is a reaction to events and nature, okay, and behavior within those, okay. Now, in the West, in Italy, Spain, France, England, US, okay, we see a thing of religious art where certain scenes of the Bible are depicted in certain ways because the artist wanted to do that. And, well, one artist does the thing another way, another artist does it another way, and hooray, it's different, okay? Some have more relevance than others because time period reasons, whatever. Other artwork is depictions on stuff that has happened on a daily basis. Okay, for example, the girl with the pearl earring, okay, is Dutch. I want to say or is it Rembrandt? I forget, okay? Well, that's just a girl. He thought she looked good, so he painted her. And now it's world famous, okay? Certain things come up because somebody has that inspiration to do it. Okay? So, also, certain pieces of culture hold more relevance than other pieces. For example, I would place David worlds above the Ecstasy of Saint Sophia. Okay, that's her, or am I thinking Saint Lucia? Either way, okay. I would place Mona Lisa well above the Norman Rockwell painting of Thanksgiving dinner, but I would place Norman Rockwell worlds above the random postmodern crap that we have coming out now, okay? Which is basically random colors on a canvas. But it's still culture, okay? So in Civ 6, when you're playing and you create a great work, the great work is named. And every single picture gets the exact same point value. Every single piece of sculpture gets the same point value, okay? Which I think is ridiculous, okay? And you're only able to have, I think, 3 or 5 in a given museum, which, yes, we're going for balance and fair enough, okay? But people don't go to a museum just to see one painting. They go to see an entire gallery of paintings, okay? The Louvre, for instance, you can walk for days practically, and good luck getting in, or at least that's how it was. I don't even know if it's still there anymore. So, with everything going on in France right now. So, you have all of these cultural items come in with Civ 6, and they're just ports in from our own world. A lot of ways, some of them are kind of random, so these were probably done in committee. And what I would have done with this is a given time period and art movement in accordance with that time period, based on certain factors, spawns certain forms of art, okay, rather than you competing for a given artist, okay? That's me. Now, science-wise, okay, science is a reaction to observed phenomenon, okay, and the necessity to either overcome phenomenon or make life easier, okay? That's why I have this thing that I'm talking to right now. This makes it easier for me to communicate with people and also make money, okay? This little piece of technology, because I've got some ginger here, hi, okay, it's a medical thing, okay, indigestion, okay. This makes scooping the ginger easier. This piece of plastic makes it easier for me to keep the ginger, okay. I don't have to worry about it disappearing on me. I don't have to worry about it drying out, okay. I do have to worry about microplastics, but, well, that ship's kind of sailed by now. Anyway, so when it comes to science, based on what you have going on, yes, you will get to the same basic ideas, but you'll get there different ways, okay? So, like, given weapons will be slightly different. The end result will be technically the same, but one version might be slightly better than another, okay? Which can give you an edge in battle. It's not just tech level, okay? Yes, steel is steel, but there's a reason why steel from some countries is more sought after than others, okay? And it has nothing to do with that country. It is ostensibly lesser steel. It's not as well made because their technology and understanding of the process isn't as good as the other one. Also, it might be the components going into it. They're just not as good. deal with it, bro. Okay? There's something in the process that fails, and they don't have the understanding or the capability or even the desire to change it. Okay? And you don't really see that. Okay? Now, another thing that drives me crazy with Civ is I found a city in the Stone Age, okay, which is where the game starts, okay? And you basically build nothing in there, okay? There's no real buildings to speak of, okay? So, your job is basically to move out. Then you figure out pottery and you can make a granary, okay? Fair enough. Okay. Now here's the thing, okay? Fast forward a couple of levels, and I found another city in the late Middle Ages. Functionally, it's exactly the same as the one in the Stone Age, okay? Has the exact same population load, has the exact same tech level and building load, okay? Now, fair enough. Now, let's scoot all the way up to the nuclear age. I found a city because I finally got out there, and it's got nothing. Okay? So now I have to build up this city, okay, and let the population slowly grow, and I keep adding new stuff in, but I'm working with technology that is, I have to build these things that are centuries old, and it doesn't make sense to me, okay? Like, one of the things that I would do with my settlers is when you progress into a new era, I would set an upgrade for the settler. All of your settlers, when you progress in, you get to keep that automatically rolls out in the new era, one of the past era's things. Okay? So like when, you found a city in, say, the Renaissance era, okay, you automatically get the granary, you automatically get several other things, okay? It just builds out. It's part of it, okay? That way you're not spinning your wheels doing stuff and, worried about all this stuff over here so I can get the city working, and then I can actually focus on what I was planning to do anyway, okay? So that's just one of my pet peeves on it, okay? There's, now the way the city's spread out, okay? In a way, I do kind of like it. But one of the things that's always driven me nuts about Civ is you have a city and it sits on a single tile, okay? And then its influence expands out. Well, there's no towns, okay? There's no villages. It's just a city, okay? And I do understand the reason why we don't have that. One, it's to give the processor a break. And two, because that's just too much crap to worry about. And fair enough, okay? My issue is, like, and this especially comes up in the real world map, is like I can dominate Australia with a single city. Yeah. Okay. If it gets left alone long enough, one city is Australia. Yeah. So you get this huge, far-reaching empire, and just kind of drives me crazy. Okay. diplomatic stuff, you know, how you make friends and all of that, the AI that goes into that does not make a lot of sense. Diplomacy is a lot more complicated than that. And there's certain things that it doesn't matter what you do, they'll never accept it, even though they should. Well, that happens in diplomacy all the time. Yes, but a lot of diplomacy is built on ors, not ands. Okay? So it is, you will remove your troops from my border or we're going to go to war. You have you have X amount of time to comply. Okay, you have 2 rounds to comply. If you don't do that, war instantly goes active. That's not a thing in Civ. Okay, they'll ask you, then eventually, you know, they'll declare war, but you can't tell the AI, unless I'm missing something, stop doing that, or I'm going to attack. Okay. There's no way to close borders against certain units. Religious units, for instance, you just have to basically deal with it, which I think is ridiculous. Okay, Saudi Arabia, for instance, if you are a Mormon missionary and you want to go to Saudi Arabia, no, the Saudi government will not let you in because they don't like you. Okay? If you are, let's say, you're part of a teeny tiny sect of Judaism that proselytizes, and you want to go to China, no, borders are closed. Okay? And it's weird. Now, some nations will have open borders, but it's not complete open borders. Okay? And then you get into the very end parts of the tech tree. It kind of feels almost propagandic in that you have to get these things in order to complete the game, which I think is dumb. Okay? One, I don't like being coerced. Okay? And you have to grab the thing, the new level, or, okay? See, what I would like to do is have the option to just not. Okay? It actually makes you, otherwise you cannot progress to the next turn. And let's say I don't want to do it that way. Okay? I would much rather see something like a tech web. That's one of the things that I loved about Civilization in Space, is you had a tech web. I loved that thing. The problem was it was finite. So what I would do is I would add certain levels into it. Okay? You've got your founding level, and you've got 4 or 5 coming off. Okay? That give bonuses based on what it is. Okay? But that's me. So, I think I've gone on long enough. Yeah, this is getting pretty long. So, will I play Civ 7? I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, moving on. So, thank you for tuning in. Sorry I got to rambling. I was, what do you do? So, I'll be back later with something else. Take care. And visit my website in the description, vimandvigorelli.com. You can also follow me on Twitter. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, etc. Thank you so much. You take care. Bye-bye.